we are going to talk about weight loss and your thyroid gland. And this is so much fun. This is your master gland. And a lot of people are like, where is that thyroid? Well, it's a little butterfly shaped gland that lives right here. So you can actually palpate it. So I always tell my patients, because a lot of them are like, Dr. Deb, I think maybe I have a thyroid issue. And, so we can test for that, figure out what's going on with that thyroid. And they say, oh, my doctor already tested for it. And I say, okay, good. Let me see those results. And it's interesting. Most doctors today are only testing TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, with reflex to free T4. That gives us very, very little information. So when you take that functional approach to health, which is what we do as functional medicine practitioners, we're going to actually test the whole thyroid function, right? TSH, T4, T3, free T4, free T3, T3 uptake, reverse T3, thyroglobulin antibodies, and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. I know that's a ton of tests, but that actually tells us what is really going on with that thyroid. And this is so important because I have so many people that are just trying to lose weight, and they do diets and they lose the weight, they gain the weight, or they don't even lose it at all. They just keep gaining the weight. No matter what I do, Dr. Deb, I can't lose the weight, even when I go on a diet. And I say, you know what? That's when you have to really start to dig deep. You got to test the right way. You got to test all of the things that we need to test for and figure out what is causing you to not be able to lose that weight. Fix that, and then it's crazy because lo and behold, you lose weight. Now, I know a lot of people want to lose weight because they want to feel good, but we want you to lose weight so that you're healthier, so your cholesterol numbers are great. And listen carefully. Don't confuse that with just because you're overweight means you're unhealthy. That's not always the case. I've had many patients come in that have been considered, quote, obese, but their numbers look great, but they don't feel good because they're getting pressure on their joints and their backs hurt and their knees hurt and their hips hurt. So we're talking, when we talk about health, not just the internal stuff, but your structure as well. And this is super, super important to remember that, right? Now, your thyroid is important because being that master gland, it helps with so many things. Like it helps your body use your energy. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't even wake up. I'm so exhausted. It helps you stay warm. One of the red flags for thyroid issue is being cold all the time. So if you can't modulate your temperature, you can't stay warm, right? It helps keep the brain, the heart, the muscles, and all of your other organs doing what they're supposed to be doing, working the way they're supposed to be working. So it actually impacts like every function in your whole body, this little thyroid gland. And it really freaks me out when doctors are just like, oh, well, let's just remove it. If there's no cancer and there's no, problems with it, maybe we could just help nourish it a little bit, because I think God gives us all of our organs in our body because we need them. Nothing frustrates me more when they're like, oh, I'm going and I'm going to do a hysterectomy. Hey, why don't I just take your gallbladder out while we're there? Oh, I'll just take your appendix out too. No, we need those things there. They help your body do the things that they're supposed to be doing. So, thyroid is really important because it is that master gland. And you know what? The other thing about thyroid, it is really especially sensitive to triggers. It can be food triggers. It can be environmental triggers. All of these stresses, right? Chemical stress, physical stress, emotional stress, all of these things impact the function of that thyroid. Now, your thyroid could go one of two ways, right? You could have an overactive thyroid where it's hyper, and so your TSH levels are too low, and so you can get things like anxiety and headaches and itchy skin and lose tons of weight. Not everybody who has a thyroid issue gains weight. You can lose tons of weight. Also, you could have an underactive thyroid where your thyroid is hypothyroid, right? And it produces too much of your TSH. So that is like, oh, you can't wake up, you're gaining weight, your hair is falling out, you have morning headaches, depression. All kinds of different things can go along with this. And not everybody experiences every symptom with that. But all of these things can really impact your weight. And, it's funny because people think that thyroid, in and of itself is a problem. But oftentimes thyroid is really closely related to adrenals. So usually if you're having a thyroid issue, usually adrenals are involved as well, especially when it comes to weight. And so, when we look at that, we got to make sure we're not just looking at thyroid, but we're looking at adrenals, and we're looking at blood sugar, and we're looking at stress, and we're looking at sleep, and we're looking at water intake and diet and gut and all the different things that together, impact the function of that thyroid. So, thyroid is so, so important. There are some signs that you can look for if you think that the thyroid function is impacting your weight, right? If you're always tired, if you have sore muscles, those are two big ones that says, oh, wait a minute, my thyroid is not working the right way. Memory issues, being really forgetful. So a lot of people are like, I just can't. I was looking for bank keys. I walk into a room, I can't remember what I was looking for. And sometimes it's really magnified when you're starting to have thyroid issues. So, don't just chalk it off to getting old. Think, okay, what else could be problem that I could look at. Also, you know what? When you have a thyroid issue, you can have increased cholesterol. You could also have increase in blood sugar. These things are really closely related to each other. So if you see that you have cholesterol problems, if you see that you have blood sugar problems, you want to push and really dig deeper to figure out what else is going on with my thyroid. Also, feelings of being down, feeling depressed, those can impact thyroid function, as well as I mentioned earlier, dry skin. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's winter, my skin's really dry, but it's really more dry than it usually is, right? So, you want to really, look at these things. You want to just take a look at everything that's going on in your body and try to figure out, what's going on and what's related to what. Because one of the things that we often talk about when we talk about thyroid disease is how thyroid can actually promote insulin resistance, which then can lead to what? Weight gain, right? Because if you have too much insulin, fat storing hormone, gain weight. So what happens is when you have too much insulin, it stimulates your appetite. Then you feel hungry. And what do? You go eat more carbs. And what does carb turn into? Sugar. And then what does your body do? Produces more insulin to break down that sugar. Or your body stores the sugar and stores the insulin. So it turns into body fat. And then your body is going to actually burn that stuff because it's so much easier to burn than to burn body fat. So I hope that makes sense. And you can kind of tie some of these things together, that thyroid and adrenals and hormone balance and blood sugar and all these things are so closely related that when you start having an issue, you want to make sure that you look at the whole person. You look at the body as a whole, not just, oh, you got a thyroid issue, here's some Synthroid. Oh, here's some levothyroxine. It gets really frustrating walking into a doctor's office and them saying, oh, you know what, you have diabetes. Well, here's some medicine to lower your blood sugar. Oh, and here's some medicine for cholesterol and blood pressure. Even if your cholesterol and blood pressure is fine, eventually you're going to have it. So let's just start that medication today. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Thyroid, weight gain, very, very closely related. Look at your adrenals. And, this stuff is so prevalent today with all the stress that's going on in the world today. I did have a question come in from Dawn, and Dawn says, I'm wondering if my stress level could be wreaking havoc on my body and contributing to my thyroid issues. Yes, Dawn, absolutely. Because stress, like I said earlier, is the number one sabotager of your health that there is, alongside of sugar, of course. So yes, stress is a trigger, right? And thyroid is super, super sensitive to triggers. Food can be triggers, all kinds of different things. And because thyroid regulates your metabolism, stress, an increase in stress is really definitely going to contribute to those thyroid issues. So one of the things that I work on with my patients is, how do we eliminate stress? Well, I don't think stress ever goes away, at least until we're 6 feet under. So how do we manage it better so we can really thrive and not just feel like we're in survival mode all the time? So the answer is yes, we got to work on stress, chemical stress, physical stress, emotional stress. Don't forget all of those, right? Medications, drugs, driving in the car, exercising too much, not exercising enough, new jobs, divorces, babies, marriages, all of those things are stress. So yes, Dawn, get your stress handled. If you need help, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm super, super happy to help. So I hope this helps all of you who are struggling with thyroid issues, and just know that if you get the thyroid managed, weight will definitely come off. So for all of you out there who want to reach out to me and get some extra help with your health, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is feelbetter@lakepointwellnesscenter.com. My website is feelbetterhere.com. Or if you want to just do it the old-fashioned way, you can give me a call at 770-974-5215. Until next time, wishing you loads and loads of love and light and health and happiness. Bye-bye.